Are you curious about what the future holds? If so, you've come to the right place. In this video, we'll be diving into the predictions of one of the most famous seers in history, Nostradamus. He's known for his cryptic quatrains that have been studied and debated for centuries. So, sit back, relax, and let's explore the fascinating world of Nostradamus' predictions. Number 10. The fate of Mars hangs in the balance as Nostradamus predicts a dark future for the Red Planet. With 70 of his prophecies proven true, it's hard to ignore his warning that humanity's quest to settle on Mars will face a major setback. Enter Elon Musk, the man tasked with the weighty responsibility of safeguarding Mars's future. As the CEO of SpaceX, he plans to send people to Mars in just a few years. But with Nostradamus' ominous forecast looming, will he be able to overcome the forces that threaten to snuff out the light on Mars? Number 9. The island's people ousted their king for divorcing a man they deemed unworthy, a situation that echoes Princess Diana's tragic story. Could Nostradamus have predicted a similar fate for King Charles III, who famously betrayed and divorced the beloved princess? Some believe that the prophet is hinting at Charles's abdication this year, with an unexpected successor, Prince Harry, taking the throne instead of the assumed heir, Prince William. The man who never expected to reign may find himself in the most powerful position of all. Number 8. It's been a difficult year, and many nations are suffering blowbacks for the ways in which their people are upset and vocalized, which is gaining international attention and calls for justice and equity. Nostradamus made predictions about this shift in 2023. The trumpets are ringing in the midst of a huge disagreement and a broken agreement which might relate to the betrayal of democratic governments towards the people they're supposed to protect, therefore avoiding a rebellion or revolution. In 2023, somewhere on Earth, you'll see great changes made sooner or later, dreadful horrors and vengeance, as you've seen this had already begun before the new year with the women of Iran. The USA has seen much protesting in regard to their policing, and the Canadian government in regards to pipeline invasion on indigenous lands. Unfortunately, there are many more examples globally that we can even list. Number 7. Dissatisfaction with celestial status. What I'm referring to is Nostradamus' quote in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church. There will be Peter the Roman who will feed his flock amid many tribulations, after which the Seven Hill City will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge the people in the writings preceding this quote. He also describes Pope Francis as the last true pope, and the man who will take his place will be dark, dangerous, and power-hungry, a man who will cause a scandal worthy of bringing down the Catholic Church. They've survived a lot of horrible scandals, so I don't want to imagine what could be so big enough to do that, or maybe our guide Nostradamus is in over his head on this one. Number 6. He can't keep his nose out of this family. Nostradamus also predicted that we would see celestial fire on the royal edifice, which is obviously quite vague, so there are a couple of things we can assume this to be taken literally. A meteor could crash into Buckingham Palace, or a fire could magically erupt in a literal sense. Harry and Meghan could be the center of attention. Concentrate once more, as their new Netflix release and book deal have shot a different type of firepower at the royal family. One that has lighted up and torn down several members' reputations, while also exposing their racism and status bias. On the other hand, if we look at this on a larger scale, it could have something to do with humanity as a whole, and the implementation of a royal hierarchy and status into our society in the first place, and then how, over time, it evolved into the social status of a society. Technically, we could say that the poverty, lower class, middle class, and high class are the same as the royal hierarchy system in the medieval era. Number 5. Girls travel to Mars and guys go to Phoenix. But what if they unite instead? Not their voyage to another planet, of course, but Nostradamus predicted the merger of a masculine and feminine power, characterizing their alliance as short-lived, as well as its positive consequences. Many finger-pointings will occur this year, relating news articles from throughout the year to this statement, because we can't find any consistent thoughts or direct parallels on what this may indicate. It's once again a probable reflection of royal families. Is it an unexpected union of two of our world leaders of the opposite sex generating political ripples? Or is it Harry and Meghan and their covert siege to air out the royal family? Some argue that this may refer to real social change once again, with Iranian women serving as a fantastic example. As people around the world raise their voices, this may be the time when patriarchal countries begin to consolidate and adhere to the needs and demands of women's equity. There's been a long-time push globally for attacks on women, particularly women of color and the LGBT community, to be addressed. Perhaps by 2023, we'll see some of that change as men and women and everyone. Number 4. is sufficient to give me nightmares. Yep, our boy Nostradamus predicted inflation, and I don't want to meet the person who didn't slap the quill out of his hand when he was writing it down. I mean, come on, do US future people have faith flavor anyway? Nostradamus wrote that when there are no abbots, monks or novices to teach, honey will cost much more than candle wax. The price of wheat will be high, man will be agitated and eat his friend in despair. We saw this as a result of pandemics and shipment blockades from specific countries. We no longer support the economy. He's even addressed the cost of food and how its price has soared. Now obviously, we can't glide past that last bit in the sentence wherein Nostradamus strongly implies that we may become a little snacky toward our fellow man, something he believes will happen due to inflation and food shortages. I'd like to think that we're above this, but as you can see in the media these days, people may surprise you. Number 3. The Antichrist quickly annihilates the 27 years his siege will last. The unbelievers are dead captive and exiled with blood, bodies of water, and red hail covering the earth. That's a heavy one and a bit dramatic, and can't really see that being good now. Antichrist, of course, can be metaphorical. It's not like the grounds are going to crack open and some red dude comes flying through with horns. News outlets have linked the Antichrist to a specific international leader, things we have already witnessed causing havoc. Unfortunately, there's no lack of these groups or individuals, and as the media is saturated with stories of devastation from all over the world, it's easy to see our culture basically crowbarring these Nostra prophecies to fit our awful times. Number 2. Nostradamus predicts the impacts of climate change by utilizing rainbows for 40 years. The rainbow will not be seen for 40 years, but will be seen every day, and the arid earth will get more parched and there will be big floods when it's seen. Essentially, 40 years of dusty, ashy world and 40 years of soggy, flooded earth arrive at a time when Europe is experiencing the worst drought in 500 years. Furthermore, Africa is experiencing its longest and most severe drought in history. And I mean, look outside, even in notoriously cold Canada. Instead of mountains of snow, ice and igloos, January is wet and cold. Apart from being a remark on climate change being an actionable point, this does suggest we'd somehow survive through dramatic weather changes to view them. Some say this is mainly because specific portions of the world will be touched by our ultimate forecast. Nostradamus said that 2 parts of France would be unconcerned by many of his forecasts for this year, implying that you should have taken your French classes more seriously. Number 1. It's a forecast that no one wants to come true. Conflicts on a global scale. Nostradamus was obviously cranky when he wrote the year 2023, because he's kind of running the vibe for us here. His prediction is for 7 months of great battle continuing on to describe the demise of many through evil, because there are 3 different sets of countries that are currently experiencing some territory disputes with each other in 3 different areas of our planet, not to mention some countries whose governing systems are going after their own people any short time. Previously, Nostra highlighted that 2 regions of France appear to be unaffected by this chaos. Are the rich planning to flee and establish a selfish community of safety, or are these areas of France so rural they're simply excluded? We don't know, and there's little we can do but stay informed, vigilant, and support the global gods of human rights. On that note, we conclude our top 10 countdowns for today. I strongly recommend you to go to Google and look into some of Nostradamus' other predictions for 2023, since not all of them were able to be addressed on our channel, and some of these are frighteningly correct. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Until then, stay safe.